The Jagdterrier is a type of working terrier, originating in Germany, that is used for hunting quarry both above and underground. This breed of terrier is also called the German Hunt Terrier. The German Jagdterrier is the best friend for fans of burrowing and those who like to show off their furry and feathery trophies. Carried away, indefatigable, persistent, this reactive pursuer is always aimed at a result, which he often achieves at the cost of his life and health. It is real to control the behavior of a Jagdterrier if you can convince him of your own authority. The breed does not grow faint from affection and tenderness and values exclusively leadership qualities. On the other hand, yagdi are convinced monogamous people. If the dog considers you worthy of trust, then this is forever. Highlights. The name of the breed is translated from German as hunting terrier. The main qualification of yagdi is burrow hunting for fox, raccoon and badger, but with proper training, the breed is able to work with a disabled bird and even hunt a wild boar. The German Jagdterrier has a high pain threshold, therefore, in fights, the dog is not able to adequately assess the situation and continues to fight even after receiving serious injuries. The strong-willed and independent nature of Jagdterriers makes them not the most controllable pets that need long walking, regular training and hunting trips. German Jagdterriers can be involved in guard activities, however, such work will not fully satisfy the hunting instincts of the pet. Because of their recklessness and passion, German game terriers die on the hunt more often than representatives of other breeds. In part, the kamikaze effect is to blame for congenital insensitivity to pain, as well as overly active behavior of yagda and burrows, contributing to the collapse of earthen tunnels. Due to an innate tendency to lead, the breed is not recommended for owners who have no experience in working with hunting dogs. History of the breed German Jagdterrier. The breed was formed at the beginning of the 20th century, when dog breeders, fed up with show terriers, began to dream of working pets that could bring real benefits. By that time, European exhibitions were flooded with representatives of the group with an exemplary exterior, but completely unsuitable for work on the beast due to muted instincts. After the First World War, German specialists began to breed a new, purely hunting variety of terrier, ideally working in a burrow. The pioneer in this business was the dog breeder and part-time lover of fox terriers Walter Sangenberg, who was later joined by Rudolf Fries and Karl Erich Grunwald. The breeder began his experiments by taking 4 fox terrier puppies from the director of the Munich Zoo, Lutz Heck. Sangenberg was not embarrassed that the babies had a vicious black and tan color, since the breeder was going to develop hunting instincts in animals and not a glamorous appearance. As a result, the matured puppies were mated with black foxes, known for their phenomenal viciousness and tirelessness in pursuing the victim. In 1926, the first Jagdterrier club was opened in Germany, and 12 months later, Sangenberg's wards began to be exhibited at the exhibition. At first, the breed was bred by the method of closely related crossing, which did not have the best effect on the health of the offspring. And only in the 20s, dog breeders began to attract more distant relatives, Welsh Terriers and Old English Terriers, to pumping berries. After World War II, the breeding of the breed was no longer so active, which was facilitated by the division of Germany into occupation zones. In addition, the breeders of the GDR relied on Sangenberg's breeding research, that is, they continued to breed among themselves yagda relatives. As a result, the number of dogs quickly recovered, but the number of defective individuals began to grow exponentially. International recognition came to Jagdterriers in 1954 with a receipt of the FCI standard. After this event, dogs began to be exported to North and South America, but the hunters of the New World were not impressed by the small and nimble berries. In the USSR, German terriers were brought in the 70s, although unofficial sources claim that the first acquaintance of domestic breeders with the breed took place 40 years earlier. Among the manufacturers imported into the Soviet Union, Cherry von Rischbach, Dina von Hochlitz and Enk von Wilziger are especially worth noting. It was these individuals that laid the foundation for the first generations of Russian game terriers. German Jagdterrier. Breed description. As already noted, when creating the breed, the main thing for breeders was to breed a real and unsurpassed hunter, therefore, the entire exterior of the German Jagda was worked out in this direction. The presence of sexual dimorphism is characteristic of these dogs. Males in weight and height dominate over females. The weight of males, provided for by the standard, varies from 8 to 10 kilograms with a height at the withers from 37 to 40 centimeters. In females, the mass can vary from 6 to 7.5 kilograms, and their height ranges from 32 to 35 centimeters. If the bitch has the same dimensions as the male, this is considered a marriage. Jagdterriers are muscular, with a fairly strong build, their ribsage has a clear outline and stands out noticeably. When the dog moves, its sternum protrudes slightly forward. On the dog's paws, spaced symmetrically, you can notice the presence of dry muscles. The hind limbs are set more widely, there is an excellent expression of the knee joints. The paw pads are wide and harsh, which is typical of all hunting breeds. The arrangement of the fingers is quite dense relative to each other. Usually, the jagdterrier always moves in a straight path, smoothness and confidence is visible in the gait, excluding jerks and jumps. The front part of the body of these dogs can be called dryish, ribs are clearly visible in the abdomen, and the dog's back is equipped with the strongest muscles, which look straight and very strong. A mandatory requirement of the standard is the tail docking by 30%. Experts believe that a long tail will hinder hunting. The shape of the dog's head is triangular with cheeks strongly drawn to the jaw and sunken lips. The muzzle of jagdterriers looks strong and tapers closer to the nose, which has a black color. There are rare specimens with a brownish or sandy nose, but this is not a marriage and a significant defect in relation to the standard. Dog gums are also black, while teeth, on the other hand, are crisp white and strong. The ears of the dogs are set high, are small in size, and hang down by half. The iris of the eye is light brown in color, and the dog's eyes are oval in shape. Popular colors of German Jagdterriers. German Jagdterriers are divided into two varieties, depending on their coat, or rather, its rigidity. So, there are wire-haired game terriers, the fur of which is very dense and slightly prickly to the touch. In general, the fur is elongated, but in the muzzle and on the legs it is short. But the muzzle is decorated with hairs, consisting of hairs of the guard type, which form something like a mustache, similar to a rough brush. The presence of feathering on the hind legs and a bristly beard makes these dogs a little disheveled and shaggy. Smooth-haired game terriers, in which a uniform short coat of the same type is observed all over the body, which is distinguished by a special shine, giving the dog gloss and irresistibility. The thick and dense coat has a dense undercoat. The wool of the yagdi serves them as an excellent protection from the cold, so the street life in the booth is not at all scary for them. In addition, a dog's fur coat has the ability to repel moisture and dirt, so it does not need constant and careful care. The presence of lint on the thighs from the inside and in the abdominal area provides protection from all kinds of parasites and insects. If we talk exclusively about the color of the coat of dogs of this breed, then here you will not see a great variety, everything is rather modest and of the same type. One can distinguish the existence of black and tan with graying colors. The standard prescribes a single color for both smooth-haired and wire-haired tetrapods, it is called sandy black. A light tone is clearly visible in the front of the sternum, neck and paws, and a dark tone on the back, tail and head. The tanning of the dogs is red and yellowish. Small white spots in the area of the paws, sternum and abdomen are not considered abnormalities, which means they are considered acceptable. Some dogs have a mask on their face that is either dark or light in color. The nature and habits of German Jagdterriers. It is not surprising that in such dogs the hunting instincts are inherent in the genes themselves and are dominant. For many other hunting breeds, encouragement and praise from the owner is considered an incentive for catching game, they try to catch prey in order to please their owner. In the case of the yagda, things are different, they selflessly give themselves up to the hunt, not in order to please the owner, but in order to satisfy their own bloodthirsty instinct. It is worth noting that the dog will be jealous and aggressive towards other pets, therefore, when starting a jagdterrier, it is better that he live alone. Yagda treat all living beings, except people, aggressively with some impatience and distrust. This can be explained by lengthy breeding work, during which the introduction of aggressive genes from other breeds took place. Interesting fact, the jagdterrier is adapted to faithful service, he can be an excellent guard, but interaction on an equal footing with other animals is unusual for him, he is egocentric, prone to independence and pride. Of course, you can try to make friends with other pets, but you need to do this from an early dog's childhood, because terrier puppies are quite affectionate and friendly. This breed does not differ in particular friendliness and sociability, dogs are wary and suspicious of strangers and strangers. Every stranger passing by is perceived by them as a potential threat, so they are always on guard. Something that, but the courage of the German Jagda does not hold, confidence and fearlessness are combined with dog's caution and determination. Such pets must be socialized by going through whole training courses in order to raise a well-bred and adequate dog that listens to the commands of the owner. It should be noted that these dogs lend themselves well to education, training. They can quickly adapt to new life conditions and are quite loyal to loneliness, enduring it with calmness and equanimity. The jagdterrier shows friendliness and affection to the household. He respects some and loves incredibly in others. Those whom the dog sympathizes with the most, he always tries to keep in the field of his dog's vision, constantly following them. In return, the dog expects the same faithful and ardent feelings that express love and affection. It is impossible to reproach the yagda in fidelity, it is their main character trait. You cannot ignore the animal, it can become sad, the dog needs regular praise and approval. The terrier will gladly accept an invitation to active games, will gladly carry a ball or a stick to the owner. Join fun with children is also perceived with joy by dogs. But they prefer to play mischievous yagdi only in the circle of kids from their pack, dogs do not like strangers and strangers' children. Interesting facts about German Jagdterriers. There are many interesting stories and facts about this unique hunting breed. We will try to describe the most exciting and significant of them, listing them point by point. Even in the last century, Jagdterriers were nicknamed German devils because of their fearlessness and fierce desire to catch prey, even of a very large size. Jagdterriers are the only dog breed for which the standard prescribes norms that establish the ratio of sternum girth and height. The standard allows crossing wire-haired berries with smooth-haired ones. When breeding yagda, many light-colored dogs were mercilessly discarded because they wanted to breed an exceptionally dark color. It used to be believed that light dogs only frighten away the game, bringing bad luck. Obedience to the owner, hunter, is an important component for a dog, which can fall in an unequal battle with an animal if it does not obey the commands that restrain the dog's ardor. Surprisingly, dogs are in excellent and strong health, although they are considered artificially bred. Usually such dogs have many diseases and genetic abnormalities, but this has nothing to do with berries. Jagdterriers are not only the best hunters, but also excellent watchmen, carefully and conscientiously guarding their home and all family members. Stray representatives of this dog breed should be treated very carefully because they can be very dangerous, uncontrollable. That is why early socialization is extremely necessary for Jagdterriers. Pros and cons of German game terriers. Like any other dog breeds, Jagdterriers have their own advantages and disadvantages, both in hunting and in general terms. It is worth treating them more attentively and studying them in advance if you are going to acquire such an unusual pet so that later the dog will bring only joy and satisfaction. Of course, game terriers, first of all, are of interest to hunters, therefore they are acquired for hunting purposes, becoming tireless and purposeful assistants in this difficult matter. Pros of German Jagdterriers. Versatility of working qualities. This dog is adapted to various types of hunting. Small size, especially suitable for keeping in city apartments. Unpretentiousness in care and maintenance. The presence of mental alertness and intelligence. Excellent guarding abilities. Excellent health and stamina. Fidelity. The disadvantages of the breed include explosion hazard and hot temper. Intolerance to other animals, especially cats and other dogs. Obligatory training and early socialization. The need for constant supervision while walking. As a nanny and companion dog, this breed is no good. There are a number of qualities that are ambiguous. On the one hand they are useful, and on the other hand, they are burdensome or a little dangerous. Controversial characteristics. The inexorable activity of this breed, on the one hand, is a plus, and on the other, it requires constant and long walks, hunting trips, energetic games and adventures. Excessive caution can be very useful, because you can expect anything from strangers, but suspicion and assessing any stranger as a threat can be dangerous. Fearlessness, incredible courage and courage certainly play a positive role in many cases, but such recklessness on the hunt often leads dogs to injuries, sometimes very serious. Caring for German Jagdterriers. When creating Jagdterriers, breeders set themselves the task of getting an excellent universal hunter who would have minimal requirements in terms of care, and they did it. Yagdi, indeed, are unpretentious in care and maintenance. Complaining about appetite is unusual for these dogs, but they do not suffer from overeating either. Terriers feel great, both in the aviary and in the apartment. An important fact, one of the most important tasks for the owners of this breed is the presence of constant and long-term walking. Such dogs cannot live normally without daily, serious, physical activity. In addition to hunting, Yagds need sports games, 2-hour daily walks, swimming, hiking in the surrounding area. In terms of hygiene, these German terriers are simple and undemanding. You only need to wash your dogs once every 2 or 3 months, using a special shampoo purchased from a pet store for this procedure. Dogs need to comb their fur coats about twice a week using a silicone glove or a brush with natural bristles. Dog ears should be subject to regular weekly examinations, removing dirt from them with a cotton pad soaked in warm water or a special antiseptic. Careful grooming is required for the eyes of the animal, which are most vulnerable. Once every 2 weeks, as often as possible, if necessary, you need to wipe your eyes with a cotton pad or a napkin dipped in chamomile infusion or tea leaves. It is advisable to trim the nails on a monthly basis, paying the greatest attention to the 5th toe on the front paws. It is short in comparison with others, and the nail on it itself cannot grind off, and this contributes to causing pain to the dog when walking. In order for the pet to be healthy, cheerful and happy, it is important to comply with all the terms of routine vaccination, to carry out deworming in a timely manner. An important and mandatory procedure for yagda is the rabies vaccination. In addition, it is imperative to monitor the dog's behavior, detecting the slightest deviations, takes care of its appearance, conducting constant preventive examinations to avoid serious problems. It is recommended to take a first aid kit with you when hunting, because such dogs are often injured on it. Talking about the dog's diet, you need to decide on the method of feeding the pet. Jagdterrier can be fed with homemade natural food or high-quality dry food. For those people who have enough free time, dogs are more likely to eat natural food. For those who prefer dry feeding of dogs, it is recommended to choose a good brand of food that meets all the requirements of balance and usefulness. Dry food should be given from 500 to 600 grams per day, dividing this amount by 2 times. Diseases and health problems. Perhaps you won't have to talk a lot about the diseases and ailments of jagdterriers, because the health of these dogs can be called the strongest. Do not forget that when breeding them, emphasis was placed on endurance and reliability, which justified their expectations. German game terriers are considered the healthiest dogs in the world, which is good news. Among the genetic deviations, there is a rare presence of dermatorexis, excessive skin elasticity. Most often, these fearless dogs suffer from injuries received during the hunt, because in the heat of a tireless race it is difficult for them to stop, they boldly rush at a stronger and larger enemy, getting injuries, abrasions, fractures and scratches. It is not uncommon for game terriers to die while hunting. Experts consider the stomach to be the most vulnerable organ of this dog, so gastritis is a frequent occurrence. Therefore, if you notice vomiting, weakness, diarrhea in the yagda, he began to refuse to eat, you must definitely visit the veterinarian. Very rarely, but still sometimes, hip dysplasia is found in yagda. Some of the main factors in a dog's health are care, proper grooming, and regular checkups and supervision of pets. Paying attention to any shortcomings and changes, the owners can prevent various ailments and problems, saving their four-legged friend from them. It is imperative that dogs be given all the necessary vaccinations and deworming twice a year. Do not forget that the best protection against diseases is their timely prevention. German Jagdterrier. The price and how to buy it correctly. German Jagdterriers are very popular in our country. These dogs were highly appreciated by domestic hunters back in the 80s of the last century, therefore, already at that time they began to take care of preserving their livestock and breeding. In order not to risk it, it is better to buy a puppy in a specialized kennel, of which there are many in Russia. In this case, all the necessary accompanying documentation will be transferred to the buyer. By purchasing yagda in the kennel, the purebred breed and the first socialization skills already inoculated in the puppy are ensured. An important fact, you can buy an angry puppy from private owners that is not purebred. They often sell a cross that does not meet all the standards and requirements, but also costs much less. The advantage of the kennel is not only the guarantee of the highest quality of the dog, but also the possibility of choice, which is important. When choosing a puppy, you need to pay attention to its external features. The length of the hind legs should be longer, and the chest should protrude forward. The baby's muzzle should have an elongated shape. Do not hesitate to take the puppy you like in your arms after examining his eyes, gums, pads on his paws. This is considered normal. Speaking about the cost of German game terriers, it should be noted that it can vary significantly depending on the place of purchase. In a kennel, a puppy can cost from $300 to $400. If his parents are titled champions, then he can cost $500. You can buy a dog from private owners in the price range from $40 to $130, but do not expect 100% compliance with the standard from such a purchase, and there will be no guarantees either. In conclusion, it remains to add that the German Jagdterrier, with all its ferocity, considerable aggressiveness, intolerance to other animals and strangers, can become not only intelligent, loyal, but also docile, obedient comrade. It all depends on proper upbringing, good manners and training from the earliest canine childhood.